Hello, Gemini. Welcome. We're just clearing the space with some Palo Santo. And I have a little bell. Clearing the space. The bell breaks through the sound. I've got a nice little beeswax candle here, which I've been meditating over while I get my messages for Gemini. And I recently picked up this really beautiful anointment oil. It's by Starchild, I believe it's called. But this was, an intuitive selection to support my clairvoyant connection. And my gosh, it was beautiful. And it's actually from a company in London, in Glastonbury, made in the UK, Starchild Space Aromas. I'm not sure what the oil is in it, but it was, an intuitive selection. And I'm usually quite fussy, but my gosh, this is like, it's like kind of citrus and mint and sage, if you can imagine that. It's very complex, but it's very grounding. It's leafy, it's brightening. It's definitely got like a mint or something in it. So it's very, I was like, the first time I pulled it out of the box and I inhaled it, I was like, woof, that's the one. It amazes me because I'm a hyper analytical. I'm Gemini, moon and rising myself, and north node and Chiron too. So Gemini, we are in very Geminiic energy here today. So I have just done a little meditation connecting with Gemini, and while I'm aware of some planetary transits and some astrology, and I can go down a human design route, this particular space is me letting go of everything and purely calling in what is being called to share. And my cat is in the room, so there may be a little bit of that. But of course, Geminis, you know about it. We've got a lot of distractions. That did come up here. But the first thing that came in quite interesting, it was like clouds. And then it was clouds in my coffee. You know the lyric from that song. And I often get things through songs. I'm connected as a musician to the music realm, like songs, pop songs, old songs, new songs. Like I like things come through in lyrics as a language for me often. So I got clouds in my coffee, and then obviously the rest of the lines just kind of fell out, which I wrote down. You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you. But I was like, is that just a mark on my forehead, or is that it could just be normal. I think it's normal. I'm like, it could be soot from the Palo Santo, but and then I was like, okay, someone's vain, but also vanity is the gate 12 in Human Design and Gene Keys. Gate 12 relates to vanity, so that can be a shadow aspect of gate 12, and I think gate 12 might relate to Gemini. But I digress. I'll write it in the notes. So distractions I was getting, like lots of things trying to get your attention, but there's a seeking to calm, and there's a seeking for surrender, and there's a seeking for peace. And then I got that deep feminine energy, surrender, and like I got this image of like small, delicate flowers, and it was about, that attending to the micro, and that mindfulness when you see the subtle. I'm gonna let my cat out, hold on. He's not in the mood to stay in here today, but he'll be back. So it was those small, subtle, delicate flowers. It's like the micro of that mindfulness and slowing down and connecting and noticing the delicate beauty of the small things. And then I got this like sunlight expansion in the third eye. Maybe that's where I'm pulling attention here. I do have marks in my forehead, like a bit lower than a third eye and a bit off to the center, which is weird. But years ago, I actually tried to get it lasered off, and it grew back. Like, I spent a lot of money trying to getting it like burnt off, and it healed and doubled, and it came back and went harder. And so I was like, I'm supposed to have this mark on my face. But I got this sunlight expansion, third eye, illuminating kind of stream of light, or like bright light coming from the third eye. Then I got a symbol of a window, of a dream, of a daydream, like looking, like a daydream through the window, like looking through the window and looking out beyond. So it was that overlooking, seeing above and beyond, looking out. And there was a sense of peace with that outlook, with that overlook. And then, yeah, I was getting connected to my animal and to my companion, and feeling like there's this energy of honoring our companions, these sacred relationships, which actually support this access between the realms. They're so important. If you're here connecting to me in any way, then it's likely that you have those same experiences as animals to me. My cats, my pets, I'm not saying necessarily the word familiar, but there is this deep relationship, which is almost like karmic, which is super supportive in this ability to access and sense subtleties between spaces. Because if you're subtle to your animal's needs and wants, and then they have that access, you know, it's really a there's a bridge. And I'm getting this memory, and I'm digressing a lot, but I'm getting this memory of years ago, one of my first acid trips, which was really like intense visually, and I was patting this dog at a party, and as I was patting, it was like a beautiful, like a border collie or something, like he had a bit of a thick fur, and as I was patting him, my arm sort of like disappeared into his body, and all of his hair grew up my arm, and I like became attached to this animal, and I was like, oh, shook it off. I grabbed my arm out, and everyone at the party was probably like not on acid, and was like, what the hell is she doing? But anyway, there's like this element of us being like, you know, by being in their zone, by them being in our zone, by sharing spaces, there's this immediate connection to opening up to these other realms beyond. So I'm saying that, you know, it's about honoring those sacred relationships and companionships, and that companion energy that is with us, that enables us to access those subtle realms. Then I quickly looked up what clouds in my coffee means, going back to the beginning, cards in my coffee. And the woman who wrote the song said, the song is about the confusing aspects of life and love, that which you can't see through and yet seems alluring. And, you know, it made me think of, you know, is there something that we're trying to see through? Is there something that we're trying to understand that we don't need to understand? Is there, like, you know, part of this mysterious experience of life and love that we can allow to exist? That's where the magic and the play is, to not have to grind everything, you know, through this analytical, intellectual grinder, Gemini. But also just like letting there be loose ends, letting there be trail offs, letting there be, you know, this interweaving confusion where not everything needs to have, well, in some aspects resolution, but in other aspects, like, it just doesn't, we don't need to anchor everything down, especially right away. It's like, allow it to have time, and sometimes things come to clarity over time, or when the time is right, you know, or way down the line. Like, again, my experiences of having things come to light like decades after I've had the experience, or written the words, or like sung the song, or made the art, and how it connects long after those things become illuminated and apparent, the third eye connecting, seeing in all directions. It doesn't have to happen right away. So there's no need to, you know, get lost in the confusion or to try and iron out the confusion, but to just allow the confusion. So with that being said, let's jump into some cards. And we're using the She-Wolf tarot deck again. I am going to kind of loosely pull out some cards, and we can, so yeah, the last couple of readings I start off with some intuitive cards, and then we sort of slip into the sort of second half of a Celtic cross in a sense. So I'm just playing with that format and seeing how that works. So we're tuning into Gemini. And Gemini, thank you if you're a Gemini sun or moon or rising, or you know, you might just be tuning into the energy of Gemini in other ways. At the moment, I'm going to say this wrong, but there is a transit at the moment. I'll get back to that. And we got 3 of Swords and 6 of Swords coming out at the same time, but the 6 of Swords is upside down. So we got the 3 of Swords, and we got the 6 of Swords, but it's in reverse. So that's interesting. Almost like these mirror worlds. This 3 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. Almost like mirror worlds. If you can see, you know, this kind of blue sky on the opposite ends. We've got the pyramids there have become a bit scattered. And so the 6 is usually coming back into balance after instability of the 5s. And the 6th of Swords, let's start with the 3 of Swords. The 3 of Swords is disappointment, but it's disappointment of a small minor thing that went maybe wrong or failed, but in the scheme of things, it was a small disappointment, which means that there's a bigger fish to fry. There's a bigger outcome that awaits us, that this small disappointment or small failure is actually something that helps get out of the way in order for us to progress onto what is bigger. The 6 of Swords meaning, I don't know, you know, sometimes things just fall out of your brain, so I'm just gonna refresh. Mercury in Aquarius, success, discovery, trying new things, searching, moments of mental harmony. We feel the potential of our minds when the chatter quiets down and the crystal song of consciousness comes gliding through. When we receive this card, we are being encouraged to seek out more of those moments through dynamic self-exploration. So it's exploration. So it's exploring the inner world in new forms of exercise or pleasure, how you do things differently, how you take different paths. So with the 6 of Swords in reverse, you know, maybe it's asking us to take a different path, asking us to try something in a different way. Or maybe we've done something in a different way and it hasn't worked out, with the disappointment or failure there with the 3 of Swords. So maybe there's this situation where you've done something a little bit differently and it hasn't turned out the way that you wanted to, or there's a slight disappointment, which means that you have to go ahead and do things a little bit differently. Let's get another card out to expand on this idea. Clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. You're so vain. Just looking back over my notes. So do you want to have those? Distractions, attention, seeking calm and surrender. Deep feminine. I wrote surrender twice. Small things, flowers, subtle, small, delicate, slow. So we might be asked to, this is 8 of Cups. So with the 8 of Cups, there's a regrettable departure. Something that we realize that we need to walk away from, and it's grief. It's grief with the 8 of Cups. But maybe that helps to give us overview. Yep, I'm recording. You can come in, but I'm not gonna edit it out, so you better hurry. No point going slow. You may as well go fast, loud and fast. So it can give you the overview. The situation can provide an overview. Maybe to what is more what you're after, what you're looking for. That daydream from the window, that peace that you seek. Wow, this feels really this feels really attuned actually to some circumstances. But yeah, these honored companions. Sorry, I'm just like looking over these notes. But what are we leaving behind? What can we get clarity on for the 8 of Cups? What's the regrettable departure? Is the 3 of Pentacles. So the 3 of Pentacles is something that we've been working on. Something that we've been working to achieve, which is skills based. It's a gift that we have. It could be a natural skill or ability. And the 3 of Pentacles is about continuing to apply effort and to not drop the ball before, you know, you've actually reached a stage of success due to that said skill. So the 3 of Pentacles asks us to keep going. That just popped out. The 10 of Swords. So something's dying. There's something dying off. There's something, we're doing a free fall. So there's a clean out. There's certainly a clean out. There's something going on. But it's, you know, the Swords is mental. So what is this point of view or this perspective or this thought that's been ruminating that we're ready to let die off and to let go of? And it could be something to do with, you know, as something that we've been working on, a project or a skill. We've got the Magus. I believe Magus is the Virgo card. It's so funny how many times I've read each of these cards, all of these cards, and how many months I've been consistently working with this deck. And I still will forget. Things will just fall out of my ears. And I will forget. Magus, I'm sure it is Virgo. Clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and because Virgo is not like a traditional card, but it is Virgo, so I just like didn't trust myself. But now that we're here, you have the power. How will you use it? There are negative examples of ill use of power in the world: corporations, government, misguided souls. We decide daily to work against the grain and use our creative power for the benefit of all beings. We give and we create to see a better world and better relationships all around us. It is the best possible use of our energies. Water, fire, earth, air. I sow the seeds of goodness everywhere. And Virgo is, you know, perfectionistic, but we're cleaning house. We're looking at the details. And we're applying that sense, that ability to critique. So Virgo is very good at, you know, a critique here and there. And there's an element with Virgo of, you know, offering that critique as their form of love. This is their way of showing that they love you. And we got Four of Cups and King of Wands. But they did come out in reverse order to me. I've been playing around with these cards and they're definitely not in the right, like they're not all the right way up. So we've got King of Wands and the Four of Cups. Big moon energy, big sun energy. It's day and sunset in a sense. I've got this crystal in the background, but they've come out in the reverse. So that Four of Cups energy, traditionally, it's an offer that we wish to refuse. It's an offer that we might say, I'm not going to take that offer, or that's not what I'm after. It's kind of like throwing it back respectfully, or just saying I'm not taking on anymore at this time. So it's like I have enough and I'm satisfied with things the way that they are. So they could be with it in the reverse, with this Four of Cups in reverse, of we're either taking on too much, or we keep accepting another cup when we really like don't have the space for the cup, or you know, that we're refusing something that we should be accepting. And the King of Wands, this is really Kundalini energy, and this is Scorpio and the Sun. And Scorpio, it's extreme temperatures, extreme heat, extreme cool. And the King of Wands is full of vitality and laughter and energy, passion. In a romantic sense, there's a lot of passion. So the King of Wands, it's the vanity, isn't it? It's the vanity of that reverse. You're so vain. I'm not saying this is you, Gemini. I'm working through the process of deciphering. So I think that it can't, like, the King of Wands is like, yeah, I'm the shit. And there can be this element of vanity to do with that King. And the Four of Cups. So we may be refusing something that's offered to us that, you know, maybe we ought to take, or we ought to reconsider. Let's have a look at the advice for Gemini. What is the advice that we have here for Gemini? The Hanged Being. Adapt your perspective, change your perspective. There's a surrender. It's everything stopping. It's something that we thought was going forward. We need to stop and take another look at it. And Five of Pentacles. Shaking things up. So the Five goes against the status quo, and obviously traditionally with the Five of Pentacles, it's this kind of poverty consciousness or poverty mindset, or, you know, being cast out into the cold. But the Five of Pentacles in this deck is, you know, it's spinning. It's like spinning the top. It's a spinning top. It's a kaleidoscopic, like, spin the wheel. It's turning things on its head, and which goes again with the hanged being flipping things on its head, like both of those. I mean, yeah, I think maybe these cards are too naked for YouTube. Maybe I need to change decks. But there's both, yeah, these upside down people. So we're changing perspective with how we look at it, but there's an element of like spinning the wheel. And you know when like the kaleidoscope of colors spins and the color wheel, and it turns white when all of the colors blend, and it all of the colors in the spectrum actually blur into bright white light. So I wonder, is this connecting to that third eye vision and that illumination? And we see that in the Three of Pentacles actually as well here, adding up to that, the tip, the bright light at the tip, and she's holding that orb all the way through, coming from darkness into light and bringing it forward. And that Three of Pentacles was off the back of the Eight of Cups. So it's that progression of a regrettable departure into a skill and something to hone, something to continue with, something to develop and keep developing. And again, the Ten of Swords was there with the Three of Pentacles to have something kind of die off, a sweet death, a sweet departure. And this Ten of Swords card, with all of these variety of snakes, it's like choose your poison. Which way do you want to go? So let's have a look at our environment. Our environment for Gemini. What is the environment that we find ourselves in, Gemini? I just feel like bringing a little bit more smoke into the room. As a mountains girl, I do well with smoke. The Eight of Pentacles, because it's less oxygen, and less oxygen helps me to connect. Eight of Pentacles is coming out. So this is the environment, and the Eight of Pentacles is this mastery, but it's also about being at the right speed and having the right pace and having the right measure and seeing things as long-term goals, and having, it's not exactly, it is endurance, but it's like, no, it's kind of a bit about how to organize things and give them the right kind and type of applied energy in order that you can keep going. So it's, you know, how are things mapped out over time so that you can give things the energy that they need without falling on your ass and killing it off. So you can have multiple things going on, but it is a progression of mastery. So maybe as your environment, we're looking at having people around you which can support you with your particular skills and abilities, or what you're moving into. The Knight of Pentacles popping out and support there. So with that alignment and organization and right measure of what it's going to take to see through certain projects, or one big project or various projects, and sort of piecing that out together. That's nice. So the Nine of Pentacles, this is, yeah, this all the single ladies. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, put your hand up. Let's move on to hopes and fears. The hopes and fears of the Two of Swords. We hope that we'll come into a decision, decisiveness. We're afraid that we won't work out which way to go, which way to turn. We can go this way or we can go that way. We can go down this road or we go down that road. But yeah, this goes back to that original message around, you know, is there something that we're trying to understand and see through and get that we don't need to, like that we can sit in the confusion and work from that sense of play with, you know, dancing in the magic which is available in the confusion. And the Two of Swords, I feel like our hopes and fears of the Two of Swords is, you know, we're concerned that we need to like work it out, or that we need to make a choice or have a decision. But again, this goes back to some other core tenets of manifestation over the years, of which there's a lot of conflicting information about. But there's a general, for some people, it is that you want to understand how it feels to be where you want to go, and then you need to gain that experience. You need to gain that feeling with your current experience. It's not that you can look out the window and have a dream and say that's out there and this is in here and one day I'll get to that. It's if you want that picture and you want to be in that picture, you see it out there and you notice how you want to feel, how your bones will feel, how your body will feel, how your heart will feel. And you need to take that and you need to live it right now based on where you are, what you can touch, what you can see, who you are today. Doesn't need to be someone else or, get anything else. It's all contained within the seed. The tree is contained within the seed. And we have the wheel as the final outcome. And so this is, you know, the wheel turns. There's another cycle coming. There's another season coming. There's a new wave that's coming, and the wheel turns, and we have another go round. Nothing lasts forever. I'm still shuffling. And we got the Lovers, so I'm going to use that as my final card, although I will get an animal spirit before we go. But the Lovers card, Gemini, just dawned on me, and I'm going to ring the bell there. Gemini, with the Lovers card, we're coming home to ourselves. This is self-love. We're developing that sense of companionship from within. So, you know, that connection to our honored companions and those sacred relationships, and those reflecting and being a mirror on the sacred relationship that we have with ourselves, Gemini. And the wheel turns and takes us into, I'm just going to pick up the animal spirit. And then we're looking for, and we got tarantula. The tarantula is sensitive as the spider has the you know, pads on, out for feelers, and takes very cautious steps. Tarantula ain't playing, but the tarantula is a big old softie. It's a big fluffy kitten. What am I looking at? Tarantula. Appears to be in the fire. Tarantula is in the fire. At a crossroads, claiming life's purpose. The tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. Haha, Two of Swords. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. When in balance, it follows intuition. When out of balance, hesitates and over-intellectualizes. To bring into balance, daily journaling. We're going to write it down, people. So that really feels apt to this reading, to be honest, and to pull it all together. Because there's something from the past that is sidetracking you from your dream. This is what we're looking out of the window to achieve. And you need to refocus your attention. I've just been talking about attention and distractions this whole time. And we're flipping things on its head. The advice with the Hanged Man and the Five of Pentacles is to look at things from a different perspective and to surrender into the situation, to shake things up, to move past the status quo, looking at and weighing up the things that we are working on and ordering them out, really looking at like how long will it take to achieve a certain thing, but you know, how would I need to apply myself in certain areas in order to take the actions that will get me to this milestone and this milestone and this milestone. And then at the end of the day, you let all of that go for intuition. So you signal to the universe through that process of journaling or through that process of communication, Gemini, which you're so good at, and that journey of coming back to the self and deep self-love and deep self-understanding. You're allowing the wheel, like you can't stop the wheel from turning. It's not about allowing it, but go with that cycle of change to leave that Ten of Swords, that thing that is dying off from the past, to allow it to die and to be in the past. And that Two of Swords. A moment when a great decision must be made. But it's in the hopes and fears. And again, with that premeditation, it's that duality of a decision needs to be made, but maybe it doesn't need to be made with the head. The traditional way people think that we need to like grind out, or like, how am I going to do this? Or what should I do? It's like a decision comes from the body. So again, human design background here. So what is your authority? What is the strategy and authority that you use to make decisions? If you're an emotional, you need to wait for time. So there's not a lot of spontaneity with emotional. However, it's different if there's something that you've been projecting or like honing in and desiring and looking for, and you're doing all of the waiting, and then the opportunity pops up, and then it seems like it's spontaneous, but it's not really spontaneous because the seed was already planted long ago and you've already been through that cycle, and the moment appears and it's right. So that's like an emotional being. That's how sometimes spontaneity shows up for someone with an emotional authority. Or if someone doesn't have an emotional authority, it's highly likely that they have fairly instantaneous, fast movement in terms of decision making. But again, you'd have to look at different impacts across the chart. But those decisions, you know, where are they made? What's your inner body authority, and how do you make a decision based on the body rather than the mind? And then to be able to trust that and actually practice following through with that inner authority. So Gemini, I hope we had some support in that reading. It was a pleasure to sit with you. Thank you for tuning in, and have a beautiful July, and see you soon, probably next month. Bye, Gemini. Bye, Gemini.